Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is something that no one really likes to do, but this year we absolutely have to do it, because the title is called Cleaning House. Ooh, that doesn't sound like fun, does it? But it's absolutely necessary, because this year we have to concentrate a lot more on things that are extremely important to us, like our livelihood. And that is because all 4 of the eclipses this year are in the fixed financial signs. There are 2 in Scorpio and another 2 in Taurus. And so we are going to have our minds on how we make our living, and how we spend our money, or how we invest it, or what we're planning to do with it, or what our goals are. In other words, we're going to be thinking a lot about the future. And because of that, you may need to do some cleaning house. And by that I mean, perhaps you just need to clear away some things that remind you of old memories that are sort of past due. In other words, they occurred in your past, but they ended in one way or another. Time could have passed on, for instance, or you graduated from a class or something like that. And so you might want to put things like that you've already done that are sort of over in your life. You might want to put those away, or clean house where those things are concerned, because this is a year when you need to make room in your life for someone new or something new that can be started this year in your life. And you got to have some room for that. And that's why we need to all clean house a little bit. So I just want to remind you that today's show is covering the a brief description of the predictions for each sun sign, all 12 of those, for 2022. But remember, I do 52 shows a year, one every week. And so during the year, you will hear a lot more information. It's just we can't make this a marathon, so I'm going to go and try to get through everything, continually emphasizing the need for you to clean house. And I have to do that too, so that we can make way for new things, or new goals, or new activities, or new people in our life. In other words, time marches on. And you don't want to take yesterday with you. Instead, get ready, sort of do yourself over, or restructure your life in some way so that you can be ready to go forward in your future this year. Now, the reason that's important is because even though a major planet changed signs a few days after Christmas, it was Jupiter, and went into Pisces, where it's very happy, and it joined the ruler of Pisces, Neptune, there. Even though that occurred, Jupiter's orbit is a little erratic this year. So by the springtime, Jupiter is going to leap ahead and go into Aries, which does rule new beginnings. So you actually have, from now until the springtime, to do a lot of house cleaning in your life somewhere, putting things away, even throwing some things away that really you're not going to use in your future anyway, or you're beyond that. You're looking at newer things, and so you may as well give them away, or you may as well pack them away, or something where you are able to leave room in your life for a new beginning this year, because Jupiter will go into Aries for the summer. And that is a time when, since Aries rules new beginning and Jupiter is a wonderful planet, that's when things can happen. And then it will go retrograde, and it will go back into Pisces for the rest of the year, and it won't leave for a long tenure in Aries until the end of December, until right after Christmas this year. So what what you are going to be ending up doing this year is sort of restructuring your life in some way. Maybe you're going to try a new job. Maybe you're going from full-time to part-time. Maybe you're planning on making a move. Maybe you're not planning on making a move, but it could happen anyway. And would you be ready? Why don't you anticipate that your life will move forward this year, particularly by this summer? It doesn't mean it's going to leap forward, but it will move forward. And when that happens, are you going to be ready? Well, you could be if you do a little cleaning house. And I think privately all of us need to do that. We're a little worn out from this pandemic. We're all ready to move on in one way or another. But first we have to do some cleaning up. And I think what we need to do is sort of, it's an old phrase, it's called getting back in the saddle again. What it means is that you don't have to go back to the same old thing that you've always done, but you've got to get ready to go forward and do something, whether it's new or old. You've got to get ready to go forward, to make some sort of new beginning. It's like you're a flower, and the flower is going to bloom this summer. Somehow you'll make some sort of a very nice new beginning this summer. I'm not saying how long it'll last, and it could be just a trip that you want to take, but it will be nice for you. And there's nothing wrong with getting ready for that. Particularly since the idea behind cleaning house is that you make sure that you're not actually paying just for your past. Instead, you need to concentrate more on what the future's going to cost you. And the reason why cost will be such a focus of yours this year is because of those 4 eclipses that are all in the fixed financial signs. And so, what does this idea of cleaning house mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, it's certainly important because Aries, you will not end the year where you are right now. There is going to be a change in your life. It might happen in the fall. It might be precipitated by something new that you're planning to do, and you may get the first phase of it or the first whole section of something completed this summer if you move fast. You wouldn't have to get it completed, but it would be sort of nice if you could get a head start on a new beginning when Jupiter does go into your sun sign this summer. That would be really good timing. But between now and then, you could do a little house cleaning, because you do not end the year where you are right now. And so you might want to anticipate that there will be some sort of important change or move for you this year. I think it's coming a little bit later. It may come closer to the fall and winter eclipses, which occur in Libra and in Scorpio, or they occur in October and November this year. And that is probably particularly the lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is right ahead of your sun sign, that occurs on November 8th. That's a total lunar eclipse that would affect a lot of people, particularly women, and it can be that is the sort of the final straw, or that is the turning point for making sure that you do head in a new direction. Now, the reason why you should happily anticipate something new is because Jupiter, it's only coming into your sign for a few months this summer, and then it'll go back in Pisces. But it's coming into your sign in 2023, okay, and it's going to stay around. You could find that it's a little easier to gain weight. It's always easier to gain weight when Jupiter is in your sun sign. So you might put on a few extra pounds either this summer or next year, Aries. But it also means expansion in your life. And that's why, you may be very fond of where you are right now. I'm not saying everything in your life changes, but you will not end the year where you started it. And I think it's because you could, in the back of your mind, without telling too many people, you could be thinking of a new start that you want to make. And getting part of that off the ground this summer would be a good idea. But you have to clean house first, you know. You've got to clean up something in your work area or in your home area or in your bookkeeping in some way. And if you do that, you'll be better for it. So I think that what you just need to do is spend some good time preparing for things. But if you say, no, nothing's going to change in my life, I won't let it. Remember that all of us live in this world, and there's a whole lot of things that are not in our control. And so if you open yourself to change, you will be far better equipped to handle it when it arrives. And so that's why I hope you clean house. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Oh, Taurus. Well, Taurus, there are 2 eclipses in your sign this year, so you're going to do very well under those 2 eclipses. There's one in the spring, and then there's another one in the fall. And the one in the spring on April 30th is a solar eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse, but it's a solar eclipse in your sign, Taurus. And that sure means a new beginning for you, which is great. Congratulations. Because the sun and the exalted moon in your sign will be there along with Uranus. They will all be getting trined by Pluto in Capricorn. They'll be backed up. And so I think that you're going to make a fortunate investment. Or it could be that you decide you want to sell some investments and just sort of have the money for a while until you decide what you want to do with it. You could be very cautious this year. That's a good idea. If you speculate this year, Taurus, you will lose money. And that's why actually nobody can afford to speculate this year. This is not a year when taking a gamble is going to work. Not with all 4 eclipses in the financial signs, and all 4 of them square the sign of Leo, which rules gambling, and they also square the sign of Aquarius, which rules the future. So people who take a gamble on their future are probably really going to be hurting themselves. You know, gambling is not going to pay off this year at all. There's nothing to support it, and a lot coming up against any kind of a gamble. So speculation does not pay off for you this year. That is why we all have to have a careful accounting of our money, but also a careful accounting of our time. How you spend your time is just as important as how you spend your money. Because, you know, those 2 have somehow got to go together in order for you to prosper. And so, Taurus, you're really good at making money. And you're a very hard worker. And you have a good reputation. Is there a possibility that you could clean house a little bit this spring in preparation for this wonderful solar eclipse that's going to be in your sign? In other words, you may be thinking about heading in a new direction. You could certainly have the possibility of doing that a little bit behind the scenes this summer, because Jupiter will be right behind your sun sign in Aries this summer. So you may be getting quietly ready for something else you'd like to do. And you could be saying, oh, I want to do this right now. Well, I don't think anybody's going to get a chance to just jump forward this year. It's going to have to be done in stages. But, you know, first of all, it's going to take money. So you might want to be looking over your accounts, and you might want to see if you could afford to make a change. I think you could. But you really can't afford to speculate. Not at all this year. You would lose. And so you need to be careful. The other eclipse in your sign is on November 8th, Election Day. It is a total lunar eclipse. There's definitely going to be a change in our feelings. The moon rules feelings, and it's getting eclipsed. So there will be changes, and those feelings could affect the stock market, which is ruled by Taurus. So that's why you need to be, you need to really sort of play a quiet, cautious game this year, Taurus. And if I were you, and you want to put your money somewhere, put it where you can appreciate it or get your hands on it. One thing a Taurus likes is a nice home, a comfortable, solid home. You may get a chance to make a speedy move this summer, which is why you need to start cleaning house right now, Taurus. And if you do, a home is a good place to put your money because generally real estate values go up, but also just the comfort of a solid home is so important to a Taurus. They work hard, they want to be comfortable when they come home. So that's not speculation. That's putting your money where your heart is. And so nothing wrong with that, Taurus. So think maybe you need to just change how you have allocated your funds. Maybe that needs some sort of redoing. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a time when what you can do is you can have a wonderful spring. You can be anticipating short trips, being outdoors a little bit more, being able to do more than one thing. In other words, you might have a part-time job, but you could also have some sort of part-time volunteer duty that you're doing as well, or some charitable project that you're interested in working on. That would work out just fine too. You wouldn't have to do them both full-time. You could just be a little bit more in control of how you spend your time. The reason why you can be more confident about what your choices are, particularly this spring and even over the summer when you are aspected to start something new. Almost everybody is aspected to start something new. It doesn't have to be big, but something new this summer. So you can be anticipating that you can do things pretty easily, or that you can line things up in a way so that you can be fluid and mobile and sort of moving back and forth and handling your obligations without too much pressure. But the reason why you can be confident of that is because you have so much backup. And that means that you've got other people standing in the wings that really like you. They could be older and more experienced, but boy, they think that you could do a good job on something. And they're willing to support you. I don't know if it's just moral support or if they're getting in there and volunteering their time or whatever, but they are willing to help you, and they're not going anywhere. Saturn will be trining your sun, particularly all this year. And so that's good. Now, the reason why I'm telling you what the spring and summer are going to be like, and that you'll pretty much be able to do what you want. You too need to clean house, though. Everybody does. In order to prepare for something new or someone new in your life. But by August, things change. Because in August, Gemini, Mars comes into your sign. And it never leaves this year. And Mars in Gemini. Your sign rules communication and change. And Geminis are people oriented, and so you get along with just about everybody, and you know a little bit about a lot of things. So you blend in well with others, quite well. But Mars in Gemini, it can be described in just one phrase: malicious gossip. And you will be the subject of malicious gossip if the whole time that if at any time while Mars is in your sign, and it's going to be in your sign from August until next March of 2023, it'll be there that long. If you let one moment of anger show, if you are angry or you are upset, or you just sort of boil over in some way, for the whole time that Mars is in Gemini, it will be used against you as malicious gossip. So it isn't just that an apology will do, it won't. You must not allow yourself under any circumstances, Gemini, to show any anger. Mars is a planet of anger, aggression, war, greed, jealousy, and hate. And that isn't really any of those things are not attitudes that Geminis usually have, but Mars is going to be in your sign all that time. And Saturn is going to be backing it up. And these are two malefic planets. They're actually in good aspect to each other. So the way I think it's going to happen is that you are going to be so busy by the end of the summer that you could just get sort of dizzy at the speed at which you are working. And is that ever going to let up? No. No, it's not. You'll be going from August all the way through the holidays at warp speed. And you really, really will be busy. So you could be so busy that you could get tired. You may get irritated by what somebody says or does, but you cannot afford to show one moment of anger, or it will be used against you in malicious gossip. So you let some criticism come out of your mouth, it is going to come back to bite you 20 times over. Don't do it. Excuse me. So take care of yourself, Gemini. First half of the year is just wonderful. And the second half of the year, boy, I hope you're in good health, because you are going to be one busy person. Just remember, if you sling an arrow, it'll come back to you tenfold. There isn't a bit of anger or criticism that is worth how badly it can hurt you if you express it. So don't. So, if I were you, Gemini, I'd go buy some plastic smile and stick it on your mouth, because you're going to need it from August until next March. But if you get through that time with a smile on your face, you might take your anger out behind the scenes, but not in word, not in a word to anybody about anything, not in an email to your best friend, nothing. If you can get through without expressing any anger, no matter how provoked you are, people could be trying to get you mad, then you are probably going to come into a time that is what you might call sainthood. Really, if you make it through this, by next spring, someone is going to think you're a saint. And suddenly, gee, everything will work out just fine. The love will come pouring in. But it's a little trial by fire between August and next March. So I wish you the best of luck, and stay tuned to the show. You'll get guidance every week, and maybe that'll help. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Cancer. Cancer, probably of all 12 signs, it's you that needs to do the most house cleaning. And that is because Cancer rules recycling. Cancers are, and it rules thrift. Cancers are very thrifty. They can see anything laying around anywhere and say, oh, I don't want to throw that away. I'll keep that. It'll work out somewhere else. And so Cancer, you can collect things that maybe you have not ever used in the last few years, but you've got them saved up in case you need them. That is probably what requires a little house cleaning now, Cancer. Because remember, the whole purpose behind house cleaning, or cleaning your house in a lot of different ways. It means cleaning up your books. It means cleaning up your office. Ooh, I have to do that. And it also means cleaning out the things that remind you of things that never happened, that you were always hoping would happen. Cancers are very sentimental people. And if they think, oh, well, this person isn't showing any affection now, and maybe they act like they don't care now, but someday they will, and I'll reward them with such and such, and just sort of keeping the hope alive for better times. Cancers do that. But how long are you going to keep looking back in order to look at things that didn't work? And they do belong in your past. And they didn't work. But why would they belong in your future? Particularly since they didn't work. Do you see what I mean, Cancer? You don't need them. You can't even recycle them, Cancer. I know that breaks your heart, but you can't. And that's why we clean house. Because you have to open yourself up a little bit, Cancer. The sign of Cancer is the crab. This hard shell crab. So, cancers are very sensitive, but they get scared of something, or if their feelings get hurt, which they do because they have such tender feelings, that when their feelings get hurt, they just crawl under their shell and they stay there. They don't come out for a long time. So you're missing a lot of life, Cancer. Why? The pandemic, I don't think the pandemic has been good for very much of anything, except it has accentuated the value of life and love. It has made us all realize how short life is and how important love is. And so to continually keep memories around or things around that represent past disappointments, that's what you need to clean house on, Cancer. Because they're not doing you any good, and nobody else cares about them either. The time has passed. And the one thing you do have that is really in your favor this year is that all 4 eclipses are beneficial to your sun sign. And so that's another reason to clean house. That's another reason to empty out so that you can make room for something new or someone new in your life. I mean, it's the difference between always looking backwards and looking forward. And that's the way we're built. We're built to look forward. So why don't you give that a try, Cancer? Because the 2 eclipses in Scorpio, which is a water sign, beautifully trine your sun sign, which means you're probably going to have the money one way or another to make a wonderful purchase or to do something that is rather expensive. I think that's possible, that you're going to do something that's pretty expensive, Cancer, but it is going to be very much to your liking. And on top of that, it will be very beneficial for you, be very good for you. But even in that little secret heart that stays underneath the Cancer crab shell, it protected all the time, it'll be very good for your heart. It will be good for your life. It will be good for your future. Okay, so it's going to be expensive. But I think, Scorpio is a financial sign. If it's trining your sun through 2 eclipses this year, it looks to me like the money's going to be there, one way or another. And it may involve a move, since Cancer rules real estate and it rules the home. And so, yes, it would be expensive, but it will be to your liking. You're going to like it. And it will be beneficial, which is, I think what that means is that it's going to be financially beneficial. Like no matter what it cost you, it's going to end up being worth more. So that will be nice for you. And then the 2 eclipses in Taurus. Remember, anytime there is a planet in Taurus, it sextiles the Cancer sun. And a sextile represents opportunities. So there will be times when you will feel like making an investment. because that's what Taurus rules. But once again, I am telling you the same thing I told Taurus. Speculation and gambling get you nowhere this year. So don't do that. It might be that you want to clean house with your investments. You might want to move them around. You might want to do a little more selling than buying. Who knows? But they all four eclipses favor your sun sign, Cancer. So I think you're going to have a pretty good year. But my question to you is, are you going to spend most of the year looking back at your past? First of all, it's going to give you a very sore neck. We're not built that way. And secondly, it can just depress you. Yesterday is done, and tomorrow is in front of you. So I hope that you realize that the one precious gift, every sun sign has a lot of gifts, a lot of talent. But one of the most precious gifts that a Cancer has is the ability to make a home anywhere. Cancers have such a nurturing nature that they just walk along and people just like them. And they always carry food, or they carry something a little bit extra that they can share with somebody else. It is said that Cancer always has enough for the day and the way, and that they do believe in breaking bread or sharing with others. So you have a lot to look forward to in your future, Cancer. And that's why you really need to clean house. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, contrary to the way Cancer can enjoy those eclipses, I'm sorry to say, Leo, all four eclipses, the 2 in Scorpio and the 2 in Taurus, all square your sun. You have 4 eclipses that are challenging your sun sign this year. Your sign rules gambling. That's a big hint that you cannot afford to take a gamble with anything this year, Leo. You would lose. And you could say, well, I have the money to do what I want. I'll just do what I feel like. Well, you might not always have that money if you end up losing it. And it could be if you take a gamble or you speculate with anything this year. A good time for you to start something new that would lead to better things, particularly better things next year, would be this summer, when Jupiter goes into Aries and trines your sun. Your sun sign isn't getting any backup from the eclipses at all. You have to be so careful with your money, it's like you have to tiptoe around it and safeguard it and not take chances with it at all. And that is why you should stay out of debt, Leo, because you actually don't want to get caught short anywhere. If economies change or the investment values change, some people who didn't think they were speculating could still lose money. And you may be one of them. So you have to say safety first as far as your money goes this year. And not take a gamble or a chance on anything. Now, on the other hand, you may feel that something, particularly this summer, that is sort of has a possibility of a new beginning, but it would have to be on something like a shoestring budget, because you wouldn't have everything in place, but you could get something going. I would do that if I were you, Leo. That could work out better next year. So it isn't that you have to make some big, grand, glorious gesture this year. It's that you have to take steps that are extremely economical this year. Not because you don't have money, but because you don't want to lose it. And with 4 eclipses, all in the financial signs, you just know there's going to be a change in the money this year. And who wants it to be their money? Nobody. But that's what will happen. And so that's why you need to play the safety first game the whole year. And if you want to start something on a shoestring budget and you stick to that shoestring budget and you start it this summer when Jupiter is in Aries trining your sun, it looks to me like it's going to get off to a nice start. And then you might have to wait a while, but you could save more money while you're waiting. And then you may take the next higher step with it in January of 2023, when Jupiter really is into Aries for the year, because it'll be trining your sun. So that's a strategy. Safety first on the money, and shoestring budget for something new in the summer. Both of those things can work out quite well for you. They're just not the way you're used to working. But this year, you want to keep your money at all costs if you can. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. This is a time throughout the year when you benefit from the eclipses as well. And the reason why is yours is an earth sign. So the two eclipses that are in Taurus, one in the spring and one in the fall, both trine your sun. Well, Pluto in Capricorn is going to be trining your sun at the same time. So, that's looking pretty bright for your career, or I think for your health, which could be getting better, and also for your investments. So I'm not talking about you becoming wildly rich or winning the lottery, but I am talking about steady growth, because you can be making your sign rules accounting, a very careful accounting of your financial assets every month. And that way you can be in a somewhat liquid position to make a move to counteract any downtrends in the financial markets. Virgo rules banking. And Virgos don't like to lose money. And they like to know where everything is. And so I think that you can do quite well, except for one particular time. And that will be from August until the rest of the year. And that, in fact, it'll be until March of 2023. When Mars goes into Gemini, it is going to square your sun, Virgo. And you could think of it as a constant irritant. Okay, there's going to be something that has to do with young people, or with a temporary situation, or with people that you are associated with at least part-time, that you do know, and they could be sort of a constant irritant to you. And yet, just like Gemini, with Mars there squaring your sun, Virgo, you too cannot afford to show one moment of anger, or it will bounce back to you as malicious gossip about you. And so you need to be really, really careful. One good thing you could start thinking of even right now is excuses. In other words, if you have to give an excuse to somebody who you can see wants to irritate you, I think that's a good idea. That's a good defense mechanism. Why would you stick around somebody that wants to irritate you? So you might think of some really good reasons why you can't stick around. And just memorize them, because you may need to use every single excuse during the time between August of this year and March of 2023, while Mars in Gemini is squaring your sun. You also should look extra closely at small mistakes that are in the bookkeeping. Not that you make, but that other people make. There seems to be quite a scam going on, common scam going on, because people don't read all of their, say, phone bills. So they don't know if the phone company is adding a few extra charges. They just don't know it because they don't read it. And it's down in the small print. And it's a scam. But it's one they're getting away with unless somebody questions it. And so you need to really make sure that what you're getting billed is all that you owe, not more than you owe. And so you'll have to be sure, and then don't get mad. One thing that you're going to have to think about is how you can present your point of view without displaying any anger. And that's hard, because Virgo's like, when Virgo has the proof of something, they just say, okay, this is the fact about it, here it is in black and white. Well, those people are not even going to listen to something like that, probably because it's so true. So you're going to have to think of a way to engineer amicable relationships with people that are irritating the heck out of you. And I would delay interacting with them until you can think of a way to express your point of view without any irritation at all. Even though that's what they want you to do. They want you to get mad. They want you to boil over. Just don't do it, Virgo. It will come back to bite you. And this is true for all 4 mutable signs. The 4 mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. None of those 4 signs can afford to show any anger for even a moment between August and next March of 2023, or it will come back as malicious gossip against them. So that's a little challenge, Virgo, but you can handle it, because I do think you're going to have a rather good year. All 4 eclipses support your sun sign. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? I mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you can be almost feeling as if there is a possibility of somebody moving on in your life. And they could even say that by springtime, at least, they could say, oh, well, I'm going to go do this, or I'm moving on somehow. And you could be perhaps even surprised by that. But I think that it is because they feel they want to make a new beginning. It actually, I don't think, has too much to do with you. It's not that they're moving against you, Libra. They are moving toward or for some new thing that they really have on their mind. Now, will they be back in the fall, for instance? Maybe. Maybe. They could be, but I'm not so sure they do come back. So maybe they'll come back. But in the meantime, as time marches on and you're cleaning house, you may feel like doing a lot of house cleaning after whoever leaves. And that would be good, because when Jupiter goes into Aries in the summertime, it will come up and it will oppose your sun sign. And that's when somebody can move on. And they could be preparing for that in the spring, and they could do it either in the late spring or in the summer. But you, too, can be preparing for something new, Libra. And you could have quite a bit of help with that. And the reason why is because Saturn will be in Aquarius trining your sun, giving you backup from dear old friends that are going to stick with you no matter what, or skills that you have had for a long time that are quite solid, that people respect. That can be helping you make a new start as well. And then by August, when Mars moves into Gemini, it too will be trining your sun. And it doesn't leave Gemini till March of 2023. So you're going to have both Saturn and Mars trining your sun. And you're going to finish out the year like that. And Libra, in a way, you can't lose. And that is because those 2 planets, they are not lovey-dovey planets, Mars and Saturn. They mean business. And Mars is energetic, and Saturn is very determined, very persevering. And so it's sort of like if, Libra, you have been sort of sitting on the fence, trying to make up your mind about something for years. then there's going to be something in your life, particularly by the end of the summer, that pushes you towards your future. And so you should have a lot of confidence in yourself. This is why you need to clean house. Because after you clean house from yesterday's memories and things you did long ago that are in the past, then you're just going to have this rather energetic time when you sort of have to go forward, probably because somebody is pushing you from behind to do it, and you'll have the energy to do it. These planets are trining your sun. Granted, they're malefic planets, but they're not in bad aspect to your sun sign. You're going to be very happy as the year goes on, Libra, that you have such strong support, particularly by fall. Because by your birthday, there is the possibility of a new partnership. And I'm not so certain where it's coming from, but it's could be quite solid. And you should be ready for it. You should be looking forward. You should be sort of stepping up to the plate and be ready to roll by this fall on something that, okay, even if it requires a lot of work, or even if your friends are sort of pushing you toward it. Well, what's wrong with that? At least you have a lot of support. And that can hold you up in your moments of doubt. We all have moments of doubt. But it also means that it looks to me like you are not going to fail. You're really not going to fail. Mainly because other people aren't going to let you. They're going to make sure you keep going. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the two eclipses that are in your sun sign are definitely going to favor you, Scorpio, which is good. It could mean that more money is coming your way. But that's not the title of the show. The title of the show is Cleaning House. So that pertains to everybody, including you, Scorpio. And that simply means that it's time to stop looking back. It's time to look forward instead. And these two eclipses in Scorpio are either going to help you make more money, or you could have more money coming in somehow. Scorpio rules money from other sources, so it could be an inheritance, a grant, an insurance payment. It could be an income tax refund. It could be a loan. Whatever it is, I think that there is definitely more money coming your way. And there could be a move for you, Scorpio, this spring. By the middle of May, on May 16th, when there's a total lunar eclipse in your sign. And remember, the moon rules women, but whether you're a man or a woman, Scorpio, the moon also rules real estate. And it rules our homes. And it can be that you're involved with the buying or the selling of a home. And it could work out quite well for you. And then when the solar eclipse on October 25th occurs in your sign, that is perhaps when you decide that you want to spend a little bit of money on something pretty important to you. And that's good too. But no matter what, you have to get ready for these things, Scorpio. And Scorpio, yours is a fixed sign. I mean, fixed signs absolutely don't budge. They do things on their own schedule, and they don't listen to anybody else. They're very determined. That makes them somewhat success prone, because they don't give up. But this year, there are two other eclipses, and they are in Taurus. And they oppose your sun sign. And Uranus is in Taurus. And Uranus is a malefic planet that rules sudden surprising change and volatility. In other words, unexpected, something unexpected. And it's in the sign of Taurus, which rules investments. And that is why I'm telling everyone, nobody can afford to take a gamble this year. with their money, with their lives, with their time, not with anything. And so when the two Taurus eclipses begin to oppose your sun, Scorpio, you will have to sort of back off a little bit on something. Or you may have to sort of rearrange your thinking a little bit, particularly when they're on November 8th, Election Day, when there is a total lunar eclipse in Taurus that will oppose your sun. I think you're going to have to change your mind about something because it's going to sort of get changed for you. There will be something going on in the fall that represents changing economic conditions. And it could be changing political conditions, but they're very tied to the economics of something, to the finances. The whole year is about money. So Scorpio, yours is a very possessive sign, so is Taurus. So you need to hold on to your money. And yet I think that you're going to be rather happy at some move that you make. It may not be a total move, but it would be a move, and then there could be more of it coming later. But you're going to do awfully well under the Scorpio eclipses. And under the Taurus eclipses, you need to keep your hands in your pocket. And don't part with money no matter who is telling you a sad tale of woe. Just don't do it. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, it's sort of a good news, bad news type of year for you. And the good news is that this summer, when Jupiter goes into Aries, it will trine your sun. This means that you certainly will get a green light about starting something new, Sagittarius. It's sort of a foregone conclusion. It'll happen, and you'll just go right ahead. Now, it is the start of something. It's not the completion of it. But it looks like it's going to be a very favorable new start that you're able to make in the summertime. So that's the good news. But the bad news is that in August, when Mars goes into Gemini and stays there, and that is the ascendant of the United States, and Mars is a planet of war, jealousy, hate, greed, envy, nothing good, and of force. When it goes into Gemini, it will begin to oppose your sun, Sagittarius, and it doesn't move. It stays opposing your sun until March of 2023. And at times, planets will move into Pisces and they will be squaring your sun. You just won't know quite who to trust. But you could be looking at hostile competition during the time when Mars is in Gemini. So I would say from August on, and it doesn't stop till next spring of 2023. So that hostile competition is, they're not out to do you any good, Sagittarius. They're competing with you. They want you to fail. So, a Sagittarian has a fine mind. Depending on whatever their level of education is, they could be sort of striving for something better this summer. They could sort of be wanting to sort of move on up, particularly intellectually. And so you could do that this summer, Sagittarius. But when you meet that hostile competition in the fall, or, Mars goes in August, and it opposes your sun, you have to be really careful. I wouldn't go up in a spaceship if I were you, Sagittarius. Boy, that would be the time they have a quote accident that isn't a real accident. Because there are bad actors up there in space this year. But on top of that, the hostile competition will want to bait you into doing something very angry so that you lose control of yourself, so that you go overboard, so that you really do get very, very mad. And then what will happen? Malicious gossip will be directed at you. And no matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you've been working, no matter how wonderful your track record is at work. That malicious gossip will erode your reputation. It will erode it and hurt you. And so you too, since yours is a mutable sign, just like Gemini and Virgo, you are going to have to zip the lip and not express anger from August clear until next spring. Not once. It's going to be hard. And generally, because the Sagittarius thinks things through, they generally have a pretty good answer for something. But if you sense that somebody is goading you into giving that answer, I would step away. Or, just like Virgo, make a good excuse and get out of there. Because you will be facing hostile competition clear until the spring of 2023. So it's no accident what people can be doing to you. They can be setting you up. And you could see that. You're pretty smart. You probably can really see what they're doing. But you cannot afford to comment about it in any way. You can't even afford to show disapproval. You have to grin and bear it and smile. Because every time you smile at somebody who's trying to taunt you, who's the winner there? You are. You are. So without saying a word, you can defeat these people. But the minute you say a word, they're going to defeat you. So think it over, Sagittarius, and zip the lip. It's going to take a tremendous amount of willpower. If I were you, just in order to keep your thoughts straight, I would start some sort of little journal at home where you can maybe write in a journal how you feel. Keep it under lock and key so nobody else gets it, though, because it could turn into malicious gossip. So anyway, then when Jupiter goes into Aries, the end of December of this year, it will begin to trine your sun. And the pressure lets up. It doesn't disappear until March of 2023, but it does let up. And in some sort of new beginning that you make in the summer this year really takes off by January of 2023. So just remember, as long as you never show how mad you are at somebody, you have defeated them. So, Sagittarius, just remember this one phrase, silence is golden, and paste it on your forehead. Silence is golden. And that's probably what you'll end up with. You probably will end up with something that is worth pure gold if you can keep your temper under control between now and next spring. Not this spring, spring of 2023. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. Just like Virgo, every eclipse benefits you this year. And that is because the two eclipses in Taurus, with Uranus there, both trine your sun, which is good for you, particularly the lunar eclipse on November 8th, which is a total lunar eclipse. You know, Taurus rules high-priced things. It rules good art and good food and wine and expensive homes and high quality, good cars. And I think possibly, Capricorn, it may take you most of the year before this occurs, but I think sometime around that total lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is on Election Day, November 8th, I think there can be a rather nice gift headed your way. And it is either a gift from an admirer, or it might be a gift you buy yourself because you have the money and you can do it. But it is high quality and it's very good. And it sort of is a testimony to how well you are going to succeed, not only in cleaning house this year, but in restructuring something in your life that can be completed by December, by your birthday in December. So if you have already started here in January to clean house, to get rid of some things that, oh gee, they're just sitting there and you haven't even touched them in months, much less done anything else with them, then why not get rid of them? And leave that open space for something new or for someone new that comes into your life. You know, in order to fill up with happiness, sometimes we have to empty out a little bit. And so I think it's okay to let the depression or the haunting memories from the past go. You know, they're a dead-end street in a way that because you can't do anything about them. They're past and they're done. And it's okay to let that go. Because human beings continually regenerate. People think that you from being a baby to being an old person, and so it's like, you know, you reach your peak and then you're sort of all downhill. No, people regenerate, and they regenerate all the time, depending on what is happening in their lives. I mean, a person who's out of a job and gets a new job, they're regenerating. Doesn't matter what their age is. They're trying something new, so they're regenerating. And Capricorn, your sign rules time. So you are nostalgic about the past. Capricorn rules antiques. You probably know a lot about those. You understand the value of time. But do you understand that we don't just vegetate, we regenerate? And so that means, you know, hey, let's restructure so you can get a second wind, so that you can go on in life. Well, I think everybody should think like that. Because, you know, we don't control what happens all the time. If a door gets slammed in our face, well, somebody else did that. We don't control that, but we can regenerate. That we can control. We can always turn over and start something new. And so I think that's what you're going to be doing, and all 4 eclipses are going to help you with that this year, Capricorn. And I think you've got a nice gift coming. I don't know if you're buying it or somebody else is, but it's going to be pricey, very nice, and you'll love it. And it might be something that represents a pat on the back for doing a good job for so long, for making it as far as you've come. And also it can be incentive for you to realize that regeneration can happen throughout life. It keeps going. And you need to also. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, all 4 eclipses this year square your sun. So that means the 2 in Taurus square your sun, and the 2 in Scorpio also square your sun. And they do that, the same thing to the Leo sun. And so what that means, Aquarius, is that you really cannot afford to take a gamble with anything. But it means a little more than that. It also means that there is the possibility that your financial fortunes are going to change this year. And it doesn't mean you're going broke or anything, but what it means is that there may, for one reason or another, there may be a different way for you to handle your finances. Or there may be a different way to allocate money in one way or another. And it could be due to economic conditions. Ooh, gee, what if we do enter a recession? That's going to change things. But then, what if we don't and inflation is so high? That's going to make everybody go broke. Or, you know, the stock market could just, you know, temporarily crash. We could hope it was only temporary. But so there are things beyond your control, Aquarius, that are going to present financial challenges to you this year. And what you will have to do is, you are a person that should have a second savings account. In other words, maybe you already have a savings account because you like to save money. Well, you need another one, Aquarius. You need another savings account somewhere that is really marked for dire emergencies only. But you better have it, just in case you need it. Because sometime this year, I do think that you're going to need some money very fast. And having it in a second savings account would do you a lot of good. So this is just a year when you cannot afford to take a gamble or speculate with anything. And when your financial fortunes are going to change anyway because of things that are out of your control. And that also means your expenses could be higher. And maybe that second savings account will go to pay those. Who knows? But you have to be very, very careful. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, Aquarius, because just as happens to the Libra sun, Saturn will be in your sun sign, and after August, Mars will be in Gemini, trining that Saturn in your sun sign. And that simply means you may be working a little bit more with younger people, or working on temporary or part-time assignments or duties, or just very busy doing two different things. But at the same time, you will have a strong backup. And I think it will be a question, since Saturn is in your sun sign, but Jupiter is not in your sun sign anymore. It was this year, but it isn't. It's going to be in Pisces and then in Aries. So it's moved on. It may be a question of what your level of stamina is. In other words, how much can you take? Or how much can you stand? Or you know, you may be pressed at some point this year where you sort of have to say to yourself, oh, I don't think I can do this anymore. Or I don't think I can take this anymore. And that's okay. I mean, people need to know what their limits are. Once you know what your limits are and you get close to reaching them, that's when we clean house and make changes and go in new directions. And that's fine. That's also how you regenerate. So there is change coming to you this year, Aquarius. Don't take any chances with your money, and save more of it, because I think you're going to need it. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a year when I think you're going to have it made, Pisces. And the reason why is that Jupiter is in your sun sign now, along with your ruler, Neptune, which is very important because it's direct. It spent most of 2021 being retrograde, but ooh boy, now it's direct. And a whole bunch of secrets are going to come out because that's what your sign rules. But with Jupiter there and Neptune being direct, and the two Scorpio eclipses trining your sun, it simply means that there really is going to be some extra money around for you to make your dreams come true, or to do what you want. And there even could be the possibility of a move. I'm not so sure about that, but a permanent move. There might be a temporary move, but I don't know if there's going to be a permanent move. However, if you were already in a home and you were deciding you were going to remodel your home, that I'm real sure of. If that's what you want to do, that's going to work out beautifully. So you could try that. And that could tend to enrich you. And so the eclipses in Taurus sextile your sun. And that simply means you may have some opportunities for additional investments. But I said, this is not a year when anybody can afford to take a gamble. But there are investments that pay a little less, but they have a real safety value to them. you might go for something like that. Because this is a year when all of us have got to say safety first as far as our money goes. And that we're in control of, you know. You can blame a loss on world conditions if you want to, but if it's you that's putting your money into something really safe, and it stays safe, then you will have really taken charge and done well. And there are just some years when it pays to be safe, and this is one of them. The eclipses don't hurt you this year, Pisces. In fact, the Scorpio ones really help you. That's why I think you sort of have it made this year. But at the same time, Jupiter leaves your sign in the summertime and goes into Aries when you may be tempted to start something new. But just remember, it doesn't stay in Aries. Now by fall, it comes back into your sign. And so I would say you really can be on the verge of starting something new this summer. But I would say don't bet the farm on that, because Jupiter's going to come back into your sign, and there may be more things you need to do to get ready before a new beginning really gets underway, perhaps in 2023, when Jupiter permanently goes into Aries, which is right in front of your sun sign. That is actually a better time to make a new start, 2023. But as you know, your sign rules is a double-bodied sign, so you could get halfway somewhere this year, Pisces, and do quite well. And the eclipses will really help you with that. I'm not so sure you'll get all the way there this year. That's okay. You're still going to have a good year. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, because I do 52 shows a year, every single week, you'll be getting more information. And I hope that it will help and guide you. Because one thing that I'm very thankful about as we start the new year is the people who are my wonderful viewers. You. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're the ones that keep me going. So thank you so much for being here all this time. All right. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week right here. And then you can read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org, or you can subscribe and have the show sent to you if you subscribe to my Karen Campbell YouTube channel. And then I'll be happy to send it to you every Wednesday night about 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Bye.